Hey, what's up everybody? Bdf 44 coming at you in another video. Alright, so I'm not actually walking to get some food today. I'm walking because I haven't been on a walk like consistently in a while, but like I feel like I've been in the house pretty much for the last 3 weeks avoiding the heat. And since it's not that hot today for the first time in about a month, it makes a lot of sense to get out and get some air. So I just did a playlist for one of the longest playlists I've ever done, maybe the third longest playlist I ever did, which was art for Bondo, the Bondo combo I was telling you about, that rock band. I just barely got to doing art for that today, so that was a good session I had. 2 hours and 16 minutes long of rock music. Not exactly something I would want to listen to every day, but I really like what Bondo does, so I discovered them last 2 weeks ago, I guess it was, and put together a combination of just about everything they've done. Because they're a fairly new band. They only had like 3 albums and a couple of EPs, and I think there was only like 2 songs, like literally 2 songs that I didn't use of theirs that was on Apple Music. So it's just a combination of literally everything, and I enjoyed it for the most part. It just got to a point where it was like, okay, I probably could have edited, but decided not to, and just went with everything. Just slapped it all together in my own little order and called it a day. So yeah, man, it was good. It was a good playlist. Very good playlist. Good music. And pretty good art session. Pretty solid art session. And so after that, I was like, all right, I looked at myself in the mirror, realized I probably gained about 15 pounds over the last 2 months, literally. Without all the, I've been doing like the exercising and stuff at the house, but it don't cause any sweat. And because it doesn't cause any sweat, just gaining weight. So I figured, yeah, man, I look a little flabby right now. Let me get out and get my walk in. And hopefully as the weather calms down a little bit, I can do more walking, especially in the month of September and beginning of October before the Lakers come back. I can really get back out here and move around like I'm supposed to be doing. That heat, I just avoided it. I can do better, but I chose not to. So I have to pay the price. But yeah, man, birthday's coming up next week. August 18th. Today's 13th. So was that like Tuesday or something like that? I don't know. I don't know. But it's coming up. And yeah, it's been pretty good, man. All these birthdays kind of slapped together. I know like probably like 10 people with birthdays slapped together between the start of last week all the way up until the 1st of September. I know like 10 people birthdays, like no exaggeration at all. And so yeah, man, last time I was recording, this idiot ass train went by, and now this one is as well. Anyway, so that's really what it is, man. Just feeling very thankful that I've gotten this far into my journey in life. I'm gonna be 42. Had a strange occurrence happen a couple days ago. Very strange, actually. It's about 12:30 midnight, and I'm looking at my phone doing regular stuff that I normally do, messing with playlists, art, music or whatever. Or I don't think I was actually doing that at all. I think I was looking at some of my teams that I drafted, looking at the sleeper app, and this lady hit me up. This lady that one of my mother's friends hit me up. Her name's Dolores, and I've met Dolores a couple times, but I didn't know her that well. She was my mother's friend from when I was a kid. I don't really know the origin of their relationship as friends as it pertains to, like, did my mom know her when she moved to LA, or did my mom know her before she moved to Los Angeles when she lived in San Francisco? So at the time, I didn't know. I ended up finding out later, but I just didn't remember. I knew she knew Dolores forever, but I didn't know where she met this person. But Dolores hit me up and was asking me, like, about my aunt, my mother's little sister. And the thing about it is, I don't know Dolores well enough to really say her personality or nothing. And a lot of things can be taken out of context when text is the conversation. Because she didn't call, so I didn't never actually find out if I was actually speaking to Dolores. You see what I'm saying? And it's on Messenger, and I've had people hit me up on Messenger having hacked other people's accounts or duplicated other people's accounts, pretending to be people trying to look for information. And so for me, I was not so sure I was speaking to Dolores. That's what it really came down to. Looking at the hour, 12:30 at night, Dolores gotta be in her late 70s, early 80s, right? I don't know this person well enough to talk to her about really much anything. I have relationships with some of my mother's other friends, but her, I don't have a relationship with. So for her to be hitting me up at 12:30 at night, it was already very strange. But then the conversation went strange because it was one of them situations where she asked me all in one flurry, "Hey, how you doing?" And then she said my auntie's last name and first name, Cecilia, and her last name. And she said, "That's your auntie, right? Cecilia, last name, is your auntie, right?" And I'm thinking, you're my mother's friend. You know exactly who my aunties are. You feel me? Like, my mother only had 3 sisters. And if you know her as well as I know you know her, because I used to hear your name all the time when I was a kid. And there shouldn't be no damn conversations or questions about whether or not Cecilia is my mom's sister, which making it my auntie. So what I did was, in that conversation, I ignored that. I literally ignored that. I answered the first part of her question, how I'm doing good. Just, hanging out, whatever I said. And then she hit me, responded to that. I returned the question. I said, "How are you doing?" And she said something along the lines of, "I'm definitely not better than you are given my age," or something like that. She said, "You're doing better than me," or something. It was that type of response. I'm like, all right. I was like, yeah, growing older is difficult. I said something like that. And then she responded by saying, "So about the last name of my auntie. So about the so-and-sos." And I'm like, I ignored some more. She said something something that I could respond to in regards to my mother. I think when she said that response to being older, I said something along the lines of, "Yeah, my mom always calls me old man." I threw that out there to see if she knew my mother was no longer with us, because obviously Dolores knew my mom was dead. Dolores was at my mom's funeral, right? So I threw that out there to try to catch this person in a lie, because if she would have say, "Yeah, how she's doing," or something like that, I'd have known clearly this ain't Dolores, because Dolores obviously knows the situation. And so she responded, "Yeah, I miss her. So I know this person knows my mother's dead." But here's the thing. Dolores, this person on this account, about 2 weeks ago, liked a post from when my mother passed away on my account, where I had told the world that my mother had died. That post, I put some eloquent words up there, and put a bunch of pictures up. My mother died 10 years ago. This lady who was at her funeral liked that post 2 weeks ago. I didn't remember that when I was having this conversation. I remembered that, like the next day. So I'm like, yeah, that person learned, if they didn't already know that my mother died, they learned that by scrolling through my old shit and liking an old post that would have confirmed to this person, whoever they are, that my mama died back in the day. So for me, it was like, all right, she passed that test, not remembering that I saw that person had liked that post. Nevertheless, she had passed that test, but I'm like, I'm still not sure. I'm not sure this is Dolores. I'm not buying that this is Dolores just because they know my mama dead. And so as that conversation continued, after she had finished with that banter saying my mother, I miss her, she said, "Are you avoiding talking to me about your auntie Cecilia?" Or why are you avoiding talking to me about Cecilia? And I told her, yes, I am. And it's because I don't know you are actually who you say you are, or something along the lines. I said it in a very eloquent way, just in case it's actually her. I said, this is deceptive plays, the internet. I don't know. I've had people try me on here, pretending to be people I know. This wouldn't be the first time somebody's hit me up, pretending to be somebody that I know. It would not be the first time. And I said to her, I'm comfortable speaking about myself on Messenger, but I am not comfortable speaking about others. That's what I told her. And then it was a long pause, like the longest of pauses, and you could see that she was typing and then correcting what she had typed, and then she laid out all of these facts that were to prove to me that who she is who she is. But the problem with how those facts were laid out, it was almost like they had been typed up prior to the conversation we were having, in the event that I didn't believe she was who she said she was. Because she laid them out in it was like 4 or 5 different paragraphs. Where she had only been missing, or rather not talking, for like 3 minutes. So my thinking was, okay, this person obviously has a lot of information on my mother and on Dolores. She knows where Dolores used to live. She knows of one of Dolores' close friends that was a mutual acquaintance with Dolores and my mother, that's someone I would have remembered. So it's like, maybe this is Dolores. Maybe this is her. But this is strange behavior. And mind you, it's 12:30 at night, my time. I don't know if she lives in the East Coast. That would make it even worse, because she would be up at 2:30 in the morning doing this. If she lives in Hawaii, it's like 10 something. You know what I mean? So no matter what, it's late. And I don't know you like that. I know of you through my mother, and I remember seeing you through my mother. She laid out her son's name, Dolores' son's name, someone that she knows I would know of. And just all of that was in the paragraph. There was a lady, the name, I was like, yeah, I remember her name. I know of your son, Guy was his name, is his name. And I told her, and this was another strange occurrence. I had put in there, yeah, I ran into Guy on the train. I said, I don't remember exactly how I worded it, but I said, yeah, I know who Guy is. I ran into him on the train once. And she really she put the frown, the angry emoji on my response, saying that I ran into him on the train, and she said, I didn't know that. Why? And I tried to see if it was me accidentally putting that frown face on her response. I was thinking, is that me? Did I put that frown face there accidentally? So I double clicked and no, it allowed for me to put something on there, so I knew it was her responding to me. I'm like, why the hell would that make you angry, and why is that being used in this context? I'm like, this is some strange behavior, man. Strange, even if it is Dolores, the behavior was wild, man. And so, as I'm sitting here and I'm watching all of this, I say to she says something else. I say, yeah, I remember Guy. And I laid it out flat. I said it like this. I remember the lady that you're mentioning, her. And she said, yeah, that was a wonderful woman. And then I put prayer hands on that. She passed away. Okay, I didn't know she died. Cool. And then I said, I remember my mother speaking to you often. I know of you, and I remember you. And I know of your son. That was what I was willing to share with her. I remember these people. I ran into your son. I'm not about to talk to you about no kind of nothing. I'm not confirming that Cecilia is my niece, my aunt, because you know that. I'm not about to confirm her last name being what you say it is, because you should already know that. And she said something along the lines of, Your mother would get a kick out of the fact that she and I are related through your auntie. I was like, okay. She was like, and then she sent me a link to Ancestry, followed by another link that wouldn't actually download. So I'm waiting for it to download, show me what the hell it has to say. It wasn't nothing there. It didn't say anything. And the link to Ancestry would require me to log in order to see what she was sending. I wasn't about to log into my Ancestry based on the link that she sent me. So what I said was, oh, I love that app. I was able to trace my family back many generations through that app. It's a great app. I've used it before. Yeah, like that was my response to that. I guess she was waiting for me to inquire how they're related. But my thinking was, I'm not about to confirm to you that I even know who you're asking me about. I'm not about to do that. As far as you're concerned, I don't need you to know anything of the sort. Ain't no Cecilia nothing. I don't know who you're talking about. Maybe if you know me, then you know I know who you're talking about, and you also understand why I'm not having this conversation with you on Messenger. Now, a normal person, I being that not normal, would have told her, hey, do you have my number? Just give me a call. But to be completely honest with you, I don't want to talk to her. Like, under these circumstances, if that's the real Dolores, I don't want to talk to her. Like, you're weird. You got some weird energy. Whether you know my mama or not, you got some weird energy. And I don't want to discuss with you any damn thing in regards to my aunt, because I don't know what your intentions are. And I'm very protective over my aunt, just like my mother was. You know what I mean? So it's one of them situations where, even if this is my mother's friend, the way she's acting, I didn't want to send her anywhere near my aunt. You see what I'm saying? And the more I learn about the world and different things, it's like, I'm on guard about a lot of stuff that I wouldn't have been on guard about just 3 years ago based on what I'm learning. So it's like, for all I know, you were never any good. My mom just trusted you. For all I know, you was a plant here for the beginning to do stuff that ain't had no business being done. For all I know. So it's like, my thinking is a bit paranoid, but even more so, it's on guard because of how things went in the past through Messenger. Just about 3 months ago, I had a good friend of mine's dad hit me up, and it wasn't him. You feel me? One of my mutual friends, Keontae, the father of the family that I used to visit all the time, he hit me up on it, and it wasn't him. So it's like, yo, this would not be the first time somebody tried to pretend to be a loved one of mine. You feel me? It wouldn't be the first time. Or pretend to be somebody that doesn't know me that well, but knows me well enough to hit me up. And so it was like, yo, I told her, I was like, look, man, I'm willing to talk about myself, but I ain't really talking about nobody else. And I know you understand. And I told her, I'm gonna call it a night. It's already, at that point, it was like 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, I'm about to call it a night. And she put the letter K. No bye, no have a good night, no nothing else, just K. And that helped me understand, like, yo, whether this is my mother's friend or not, I don't really need to be talking about this. I'm talking about my loved ones with this person. Because they are behaving in a way that just flares off all of my discernment in this world. All of it. Every bit of the intuition that my mother put in me to not trust people was flaring off in that conversation. And even more so, when I hung up from that conversation, I spoke to my aunt, and my aunt asked me a very simple question about this lady that was also going in my head as well. If she had questions about my aunt, why didn't she ask my aunt? Because she follows her on Facebook. And my aunt knows Dolores better than I do. Based on the fact that my mom and Dolores knew one another from San Francisco, which I wasn't, again, aware of until I spoke with my aunt. She was like, yeah, she used to sing with her. She used to sing with her back in San Francisco. I was like, okay, so that's how that works. Because some of my mother's friends that I knew of, she met out here, and some of them she carried over from her life back in San Francisco. So this was one of her Frisco friends who happened to move to LA as well. I'm like, okay, that's the context. So if that's the context, then you know this lady better than I do. Because my interactions with Dolores were from when I was like a small child. And if you knew that she sung with my mom, then you knew her from the days before I was born. You know what I'm saying? Because my auntie's like 20, 21 years older than me or something like that. So she knew all my mom's friends. You know, that kind of thing from before. Because the way the context works is that my mother spent a great deal of time. I don't want to disrespect my grandmother Lily because I don't really know everything, but my mom practically raised her sisters, her two little sisters. And my grandmother Lily was involved with circumstances with men that were not very good and out of the house working a lot. So it was a lot of stuff that made it so that it was kind of my mom watching over Aunt C and my Aunt Linda. And she, it was one of them situations. So, like in the real world, based on my little limited life of understanding, if Dolores had questions about Cecilia, then she would just hit up Cecilia. Say, yo, guess what? I found out we related. Why did she do that? Why would she go through me to do that? When I don't have that type of relationship with Dolores at all. And so that was just like, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I thought I was talking to the feds or something, to be completely honest with y'all. It felt like I was talking to the feds. It felt like I was talking to Mossad or feds, if I'm being real. There were certain characteristics in the conversation that were short. I guess you could say the word short. That people, that you could tell someone's talking to you that don't want to be talking to you. You could tell that someone's talking to you that doesn't respect your intelligence. You could tell someone's talking to you that don't particularly like you. You could tell someone's talking to you don't particularly respect you. That's what that was. You could tell. Like, though, this person, they would not want to communicate with me if not for what they need from me. That was the type of energy it was. And I've seen those patterns of behavior in those type of circumstances. And all the information that was laid out, it was like, this is stuff that you can find out the stuff that was there, that she laid out, if you're the feds. You would know of all Dolores' friends. You would know of all Dolores' friends' children. You would know of Dolores' living situation where she lived when those people were to interact. You would know of Dolores' son. You see what I'm saying? So it was like the information that was laid out, it wasn't spoken to me. It was printed out for me to read. And what these Fed people need to understand, what these agents need to understand is, you're not communicating in a fluid way when you do that. What you're doing is essentially showing me all the information that you gathered. There's a difference between showing me information and refreshing someone's memory. And you showed me information. Now that will work on certain minds, but there are going to be certain people like myself who that's going to be a red flag in and of itself. How you deliver that information is important. And like I said, I genuinely felt like I was talking to an agent. Genuinely speaking. And I'm not, like I said, because of what I'm learning in the world that I'm in, I'm not sure Dolores isn't an agent. Even if it is Dolores, I ain't sure it ain't her. I ain't sure it ain't. I don't know what this lady been up to for the last 30 years. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. And so for me, it's like, nah, man, nah. That all of that was off. And when I talked to my aunt was like, you used the spirit of discernment. You had it right. And you didn't owe that lady no explanation, no conversation, no apology. That's what she told me. If that woman wanted something from me, she could have hit me up. She went through you, and that's telling in and of itself. So my aunt was completely supportive of me in that regard, because I was like, man, I'm probably just being paranoid. I'm paying attention to too much stuff going on in the world. I keep to myself to begin with. I don't know if I can trust any damn body, right? So maybe I'm being paranoid. But I trusted my instincts, and my instincts were telling me, don't tell that woman nothing. Not a damn thing about anybody other than yourself if you choose to. Other than that, don't tell her nothing. Don't speak to that person at all, basically. And it's crazy because the next day I saw under my aunt's post celebrating one of our family members' birthdays, this Dolores person ended up saying happy birthday to our family member in all capitals. And I saw that my aunt didn't like the comment. I saw that. For all I know, that's Dolores, and that's how her personality is. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? If I knew her and I understood that, I wouldn't have had the same energy. If we was on the phone or in person, certainly wouldn't have been the same energy. It wouldn't have been. But because it was on Messenger, you hit me up at midnight, asking to be about my auntie in a way that doesn't feel organic, proving yourself to be who you are in a way that also doesn't feel organic. I'm just like, man, these is red flags, bro. All these red flags. I ain't feeling none of this. Respectfully, I ain't feeling none of this. So the first opportunity I had, my aunt hit me up the very next day. I wasn't gonna hit her with it. I really wasn't. But my aunt ended up hitting me up because it's a lot going on in my aunt's life right now. And so we got, like I said, a bunch of birthdays, a lot of them on her side. So her grandkids, herself, they all have birthdays this week. Like, that's just how that works. My birthday coming up as well, so I knew she was gonna be hitting me soon. And not only that, but we just lost a couple of family members. So she was telling me, she actually hit me up to tell me that she was gonna go to one of the 2 funerals. And so I was like, you know, as she was telling me that, I'm like, this is the opportunity I have to let her know that somebody's inquiring about her who says they're my mom's friend, who don't feel like no friend to either one of us. And I told her exactly what I thought. I was like, yo, Dolores hit me up to such and such, and I told her everything. And she was very appreciative of that, you know what I mean? But I told my aunt, I was like, I don't play about you or anybody in my family. I don't play about us. I don't play about us. I don't know who we can trust. I don't know who's in our corner. I don't know who's not. You know what I'm saying? I'm not here to pretend like I got some understanding. All I know is the vibes in that conversation weren't right, and because of it, I was extremely guarded. I didn't let that person know that I knew you. I didn't let that person know that I knew of anything other than what it is that I would otherwise be comfortable telling anybody. You know what I'm saying? And enough to get that person to understand that I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I am not sure you are who you say you are, and even if you are, your behavior is strange. You know what I'm saying? And when you're talking to strangers, I'm only going to go off the energy that you've given me. I'm not going off of what I heard about you or what may have been said about you. I'm going off what you show me. And if you show me on some weird stuff, then that's exactly what I'm going to have in my head about you. And that's really what it was. And so it was unfortunate, man, because like I like having relationships with all my mom's friends. People who reach out to me, you know what I'm saying? And I have relationships with some of them. My auntie Pat, you know, she's not my blood aunt, but like over the last couple of years, I've gotten fairly acquainted with her via text. I remember getting familiar with her more so at the funeral. And it's weird because it's just like Dolores. I used to hear her name all the time. Pat is one of my mother's very best friends from San Francisco. I didn't get a chance to meet her maybe once throughout the course of my mother's lifetime, but after my mother passed, they had such a strong bond that Pat is always checking up to sure that my mother's son is fine at all times. No matter what's going on, she loved my mom so much that she continues 10 years afterwards to make sure I'm straight. Every couple of weeks I hear from Pat. Like that type of like loyalty and stick-to-itiveness to the friendship, like you can't help but appreciate that. I don't even know if I had that trait in me like that. I'm not that personable to begin with. But like that's the type of love and friendship that I can't help but appreciate. So if this is Pat, it's an entirely different story because there's some rapport there, you know. But Dolores, I don't have that. It's not what it is. Not to say that it was any less of a friendship. My mother spoke of Dolores all the time. But she wasn't around, you know what I mean? So it's like, I trust what my mother told me about her friends, but I don't remember what she said about Dolores very much, unfortunately. I just remember hearing the name all the dang time. You know what I mean? My mom loved her friends. That's the thing I got to tell about all. I can tell everybody. My mother was a good friend to others, and she loved her good friends. So it was not a shortage of conversation to help me be familiar with who these people are. In the event that my mother passed away, I would know of these people. And so now, names like Pat, Patsy, and Dolores are in my Rolodex because my mother spoke of them so much. I know that's family. Problem is, again, I got to know of you to some degree before I'm willing to trust that you are who you say you are online, you know? And that's what it really came down to. I can't see certain that I was talking to Dolores. And so that's why it's like, yo, man, if you really Dolores, then you're going to respect me when I say I've had people try me on here in the same fashion that you hitting me up. They prove themselves to not be who they say they are. I don't trust this app or anybody on it. You know what I'm saying? That's really it. Unless I've been having an ongoing conversation with you that I could double check through seeing you in person. Like, for example, I've been communicating with my niece on Messenger for years, but I've seen her a couple of times since we started that, so I know it's her. You feel me? Otherwise, I wouldn't trust nobody on Messenger. And so that's really what it comes down to. And I didn't get the feeling that she respected that at all, which in and of itself was a red flag. Because anybody who say they are who is who they say they are, is just gonna be like, okay, let's get up off this app. Here's my number. We'll talk tomorrow. That's what I think Dolores would have done. Is give me her number, say, okay, yeah, somebody tried you on here? Oh yeah. We'll talk. Let's talk on the phone. And now that made things a lot easier, but that was never an option. It was never even something that was suggested. And that was in and of itself was a red flag as well. And look, like I said, I study behavioral patterns. I had somebody who was somebody I didn't know at all hit me up, pretend to be very, very kind, and then proceeded to insert a question about something that I had no business telling them. I refused to tell them, and then they flipped on me. They started they started cursing me out, placing curses upon me in some native, from where they from, like some Nigerian type thing. I think I even told you guys about it. It probably happened like 2 years ago. I think I told you about it. That person like literally cursed me. Not curse words, but like started saying I want this to happen to you type stuff. And so them behavioral patterns is like, okay, I know when somebody's duping me, they already got an attitude because their spirit ain't right to begin with. They already got a short-tempered nature about them because that's the nature of the deception that comes with being somebody who's doing something like that. You see what I'm saying? And so it's like, I study these type of behaviors, and that was what was coming through. Like that vibe was coming through that conversation with this person who calls themselves Dolores. Like, yeah, this person they're not respecting me. They don't appear to really have a warmth about themselves toward me. They more so want from me what they want. And I can sense that right away. And so that's what I wanted to share with you guys. Like, just be careful online, man. Instagram, anything having to do with the internet. People getting tricky, man. People do their homework. Depending on what they want and how much is at stake, they will do their homework, man. And I say, like, if you have elderly people in your family, keep an eye on, check on them as it pertains to what they got going on online. Because it's usually people over the age of 60 that I've noticed that get hacked a lot, man. And people be pretending to be them on the line. Because it's not the first time that's happened, where one of the elders in my life is hitting me up pretending who they are and they're not that person. It's not the first time. It's usually somebody older that they do this with. And so like that's why I'm like, okay, I was already on edge, because I'm like, yo, like, is this another one of those? I tell you guys, man, I just, I don't know who to trust out here when it comes to this type of thing. And because I don't, I tend to be very guarded. I don't play any games online. I'm not, like I said, this stands for anybody who would reach out to me from here. I don't talk about anybody but myself. I'm not comfortable giving information to anybody but myself. Throughout the course of the time of me having this channel, I may have accidentally said some things I would not be comfortable saying today. Somebody's last name, saying something somewhere somebody was at. That's just not the way I need to be moving. Whether I've made that mistake or not, it's not the way I need to be moving. And I'm gonna be intentional on trying not to move that way. Because it's sick out here. The enemy is desperate. He's got devoted people that are doing his duty. And a lot of the time, if I'm being frank with everybody, a lot of the time, them demons have been in place for a long time, man. Spies and stuff like that, they've been in place for a long time. They're not new. That's the reality of it. That's not a new thing. So it may very well be somebody your parents have known for 40, 50 years that's coming around right now, activated, trying to, really show who they truly are. They was laying dormant for 30 years waiting for them to get that call, and they got that call in 2026. But given what the enemy's doing right now, that's not crazy to me. Given what it is that I'm seeing right now with this government, that's not crazy to me. KGB agents and stuff laying dormant for 20 years with families and stuff like that. They get that call, and now they going out doing the mission. Like, nah, I'm not oblivious to that type of shit at all. That is something I'm thinking about. And you may say this ain't the movies. No, it ain't. But what I'm learning about reality is art is imitating life, not the other way around. And so that's what I want to tell y'all, man. Guard yourself. Stay prayed up so your discernment can be aligned with the one who created us. Because it can get tricky out here, man. And I don't know what that person wants. Like I said, they were saying that they related to my auntie. For all I know, Dolores is related to my auntie. I guess if they giving us all this information, they know that she is to some degree or whatever. But you ain't getting no information out of me on that. And given all the information that you had, you see, that was another thing. Given all the information that she was able to display to me that she had, dating back to addresses of where she used to live, people that her and my mom both knew, that, Dolores' son and all of this. Given that you were able to display all that, why the hell did this conversation start with you asking me a question about something as simple as who I'm related to? If you got all this, why the hell are you asking me that? That's the question. I guess I'm just supposed to be, and this is the thing, people think that you're too stupid to put two and two together, and that's fine. I mean, I don't know who all is thinking like this or not in this world, but as far as I'm concerned, I was raised by somebody who kind of put certain things in my head. My mother told me on more than one occasion, I don't care if it's one of my friends, I don't care if it's family member or nothing. If you don't feel right talking to that person, you don't have to talk to that person. She was like, I don't care if it's me. If the vibes is off, trust your gut. That's what she used to tell me on more than one occasion. Trust your instincts, use your discernment. If something ain't right, it ain't right. Trust it the first time, you know? Trust your gut the first time. So that type of upbringing helped me in these circumstances as well. Because there had been a side of me that said, you know what, I don't trust this, but it's probably my mother's friend, so I gotta respect her. Like, nah, I respect her by, first of all, making sure that she who she says she is. You know what I mean? That's the first way to respect somebody, is to make sure you're not providing somebody who don't mean them any good any more information about them. Pretending to be them, hoping to get more information. And that's what it seemed like to begin with. So that's really what it is. If it was Dolores, I'm somewhat sorry, but not really. You know what I mean? Like, at this point in time in my life, I'm 42 in August, as I already mentioned. In a week. There are certain ways that people are supposed to approach people. You know what I mean? That's really what it comes down to. There are certain ways that is appropriate, and there are other ways that are not appropriate. Okay, that's what I will say. And we teetered that line there as it pertains to what's not appropriate. Hitting somebody up that you don't know that well, asking them questions that you already know the answer to, and then proceeding to tell them things that are supposed to prove you are who you say you are, all in a matter of like 30 minutes of being midnight. That's just weird. That's weird behavior, man. We couldn't have this conversation before 8 p.m. Like, there wasn't no way we can have this conversation tomorrow morning. All of that's just, it's a bit presumptuous to think that someone's gonna be comfortable, you know. And then to show a certain slight when they're not, to be somewhat aggressive or passive aggressive when they don't trust your ass. Nah, all of that was like, nah. None of that's any good, man. So that's what I gotta say about that, man. That's pretty much it. I appreciate y'all letting me walk through that experience, because it bothered me a lot. Because I wasn't really sure I was doing the right thing. And I wasn't really sure if my paranoia was kicking in. For all I know, that actually is Dolores. You know what I'm saying? Just hitting me up because she had the opportunity to do so. You know what I mean? I know so little about Dolores' life that for all I know, she's been working all night. This is the best opportunity. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know. That's the point. I don't know this person. So that's pretty much what I got to say about that, man. I wish everybody well. I pray for Dolores all the time. I pray for all my mother's friends regularly. And that's another reason why I trusted my gut, because I'm like, this person's in my prayers every day. Ironically enough, I said her name in prayer right before I went to sleep that night, just as a means of keeping the routine of the things that I pray for. So it's like, that's why it's like I can trust my gut on this, because whatever this person's up to, they don't know. The prayer's been attached to their name for a while now, like, as it pertains to myself. So if this is you, then it's gonna work itself out. If it ain't you, then I'm probably getting a hint that it ain't based on them prayers. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, man, I don't know. And you know, as I said, my mother did raise my aunt somewhat. My aunties, you know, she spent a great deal of time raising them. And I felt like my mother's spirit was over me in that regard too, protecting us both. Like, yo, sending that energy into me to say, don't say too much here. Don't trust this energy that you're getting from this person. They ain't right. Watch over yourself and watch over my baby sister. That's kind of the energy that I got as I was having that conversation. Like, I felt my mother's presence, kind of like, yeah, don't trust that person. That ain't who she say she is, or she on some other type of stuff that ain't got nothing to do with nothing that my mother would approve of. And it's funny because I wish my mother was here today to kind of tell me what she thought of that. I'm pretty sure my mom would have a conversation with her about that. You hit him up at what time? Asking him about what? Why don't you just hit her up? Why don't you just hit up Cecilia? Pretty sure that's kind of how that would go. So that's pretty much it, man. Got that off my chest. I wanted to make that something that I documented, because I I wondered if I was talking to somebody that didn't mean us any good, who had a lot of more information than maybe the average person would. Somebody who probably studying my auntie, studying me, studying Dolores, knows what would make me feel comfortable. Sharing enough information that would make me say, okay, I'm sure this is her. They didn't do that. They didn't do that. That's what people need to understand. Just because you got information doesn't necessarily mean that this brain is going to trust that you are who you say you are. It just means that you did your homework. It means that you were in a position to maybe grab more than the average person. It's not that I think you Dolores, it's that I think you're a fed. Bdf 44, I thank you all for watching.